Hey, this is Chris from GuitArmy, and in this week's guitar lesson, I'm going to show you how you can sound better when you solo using triads. So in this lesson, we're going to be taking a look at the key of A and specifically how we can use those triads to play over a 1-4-5 chord progression, which would be A, D, E. The reason I picked those three chords are A is the 1 chord, the root, and then we have D, which is the 4 chord, and E, which is the 5 chord. They're the three main chords that you're going to have to play over mostly. Whatever kind of genre you're playing, they're the most common chords you're going to find in a chord progression. So let's go ahead and take a look at the triads and how we can use that to solo better. So for this lesson, we're imagining we're playing over a song in the key of A, or a chord progression that's going to be having A's, D's, and E's in it, or 1, 4, 5. So if we're going to have to play over A, which is the 1 chord, we could play the actual A major scale. We might want to use the pentatonic for that. Both are completely viable things to use when soloing over an A chord in the key of A. Typically, when I'm improvising, what I like to do is I like to think of everything. I know where the scale is, and I also know where the pentatonic is, so that I can kind of interchangeably use either one however I want. But the next level to me is knowing where your triads are. To me, the triads are just the root, third, and the fifth, 1, 3, 5. That you can play. I can play this triad, this one. There's a lot of different A major triads. I'm going to be primarily in this lesson talking about playing over A, D, and E right here and right here, because they're kind of the two main areas that you probably are going to play. Instead of you might want to be playing down here if you're the singer and you want to put in fills and stuff down here, or if you're taking some awesome solo up here. But I'm just going to focus on these two areas today in this lesson. So the first triad we're going to take a look at over the A chord is going to be a root position triad. It's going to go root, third, fifth, because a root position triad is root, third, fifth. That's the order. So if I'm playing over an A chord, these notes right here are, it's 3/5 of the pentatonic scale. So your pentatonic is this 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1. I'm just cherry picking these three notes because these are the notes. These three notes come right out of an A chord. So these three notes are going to be three great notes to target. It's A, C sharp, and E. They're just going to sound really good, and I can still think about my scale, my pentatonic. But if I'm thinking of this triad, then it allows me to if I can see those in my brain, I'm thinking if I hit those notes, if I play those notes a little longer, kind of target them, they're going to sound better over top of that, the A chord. All right, so now the next triad that I'm going to be thinking about, we have this one with a 1, 3, 5, the root position. The next one would be 3, 5, 1, or a C sharp, E, A. That is a first inversion triad because that is the third in the bottom, 3, 5, 1. To me, I really like this one because it's a chord that you can play by itself. Sounds cool. I like to do that. I like to take this second here and bend it up to a C sharp. Because with the C sharp, that's the third of the chord anyway, so I'm still targeting a chord tone. It's just not part of this triad. So these are the two, when I'm playing over the A, these are going to be the two that I want to kind of focus on or try to target the notes. The root position and first inversion. All right, now let's take a look at the two triads that we're going to take a look at and use over the D chord. The first triad we're going to be taking a look at comes right out of this chord here, this D major chord. So if we take a look at what we're playing on strings 2, 3, and 4, we have it's the notes A, D, and F sharp, or 5, 1, 3. So that is a D major second inversion triad because that's the fifth in the bottom. So that's something I can target. So instead of while I'm playing over top of this chord progression, when it comes time to go to the 4 chord, if I use those notes to focus on, that was a little sloppy, but if I focus on those, kind of land on those and hold those notes a little longer, it's going to sound more like I'm playing over the chord as opposed to this. When I go to if I'm hitting those, it sounds you can hear the chord better because you can hear I'm kind of emphasizing the notes in the chord. So that is the first triad we're going to take a look at. The next one is going to be like this, and it's going to be root, 3rd, 5th. Since we're in D, this has to be a D, F sharp, A, or 1, 3, 5. So that's the second one we're going to target. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at the 2 E major triads that we're going to use. The first E triad we're going to use is this one right here, which is a great major chord. It's kind of based off of this, what I would consider E major 3rd position. It's this major chord right here where we have a 3, 5, and 1. That's a first inversion triad since the 3rd is in the bottom, 3, 5, 1, or G sharp, B, E. I like this one because I'm a big fan of this pentatonic pattern for E major. So it becomes very easy to it's just a really nice little triad to solo around. All right, and the next E major triad we're going to look at is this one right here. So this is E major. Feels just like a D chord. If you just slide it up 2 frets, the root is right here. That's where 1 is. So this triad goes 5, 1, 3. It's a second inversion triad because it's the 5th in the bottom. 5, 1, 3. The notes go B, E, G sharp. All right, so now we've taken a look at the triads that we're going to use. So now let's take a look at how we can use those to incorporate them into our playing. All right, now let's play a little over top of the 1 chord, the A major. So we have these notes to focus on, and we have these notes right here. We can also incorporate the notes in the scale, as well as the pentatonic scale, which is just 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So if I hit my looper here, we got a. So this is the 1 chord, this is A. So I'm just going to noodle around. So what I'm doing is, as you can tell, I'm just doing some kind of phrase and kind of ending on the target note or a chord tone. Basically a note in the triad. Just trying to stop there. Because that note sounds like it fits in this chord a lot better. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at playing over top of the 4 chord, the D chord. All right, so we have these 2 triads here. And we have this one as well. So if I hit a D chord, I'm thinking of where these notes are. And I'm going to try to incorporate that. I can play A major pentatonic, but that doesn't sound quite as good. So I might switch over to D major pentatonic. So I'm still focusing on these notes. So not the greatest solo in the world there, but what I'm doing is making my brain think that these are the notes that I want to target over top of that. And I was, instead of playing the A major pentatonic, I was switching over to D major pentatonic, which looks like this. Starting here, it goes 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, up to 1 right there. All right, now I'll play a little bit over the 5 chord, the E chord. Okay, and if I play over that E chord, the 5 chord a little bit, I could do something like this. Once again, I'm thinking of this triad and thinking of this one right here. They sound real nice. All those notes sound really good. Those notes just sound better. All right, now I'm going to play over chord progression. It's going to go A, D, E, and then back to A. And I'll show you how that you can use these to sort of, play over top of the triads, the chords as they're going by. Here we go. Okay, so I cheated a little bit by putting in a little A minor pentatonic kind of bluesy run there at the end. I always feel that if you want to try to get away with that, you can right at the end of the chord progression, kind of before it starts back over. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the triads up a little higher. All right, for the A chord, what we have here, I generally, where I think of this is I think of where this A is right here, and then I think of the chord tones, 1, 3, 5, 1, and that's going to let me know where this this A first inversion triad is right here with the 3rd, the 5th, and the root. It's the same as the D right here. I'm sorry, the E right here. Except we're sliding up here, and now it's going to be the A. So we have this one, and we also have this one to work with, which looks like a D chord. How we were playing E here. Here's D, E, A, and the chord tones are 5, 1, 3. So we have this one to work with. We have this one. So those are the 2 A's that we're going to be able to use. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our 2 D triads up here in this area. The first D triad we're going to take a look at is this one right here. It's a root position, just like this was root position A, 1, 3, 5. We're going to slide it up here and go D, F sharp, A, or 1, 3, 5. It's basically out of position number 1. If you wanted to play a D major scale here, or D major pentatonic. So we have 1, 3, 5, and then we're going to use this one right here. You can see the chart there on the screen if it helps. And it's going to be a first inversion because it's going to go 3, 5, 1, or F sharp, A, D. So these are the 2 different 4 triads we can use, or D triads right around here. We were using these down here before. Now we're going to take a look at these. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at the triad we're going to use for our 5 chord, the E chord. Okay, the only triad that I'm going to use right here is this one right here. It comes from this E chord here, that E major chord, and it's going to go 5, 1, 3, which is the triad. The reason I like using this one is because if you're familiar with an E major pentatonic scale, it's the kind of the lower notes here in the pentatonic. So if you're familiar, which most guitar players are, in playing this pattern, this becomes an easy triad to use because you have the quick pentatonic pattern there that you can put some fills in or guitar lead. So now I'm going to go ahead and play something over that same chord progression I used before, just using these triads up here and targeting the notes in the chords up higher on the neck. So hopefully you could hear with that completely improvised little solo. It wasn't exactly catching lightning in a bottle with that solo, but it was completely made up. So I was just trying to demonstrate, playing over those changes and kind of targeting one of the notes in the next chord. So I was just thinking one thing that you could probably do to get started would be to just play them kind of back to back, like A, then D, then E, and then back to A. That way you can really get those notes down so that so it almost doesn't matter. So if the chord progression would change and you would go from A to E, A, then you can go right into E right there. So it doesn't matter really what the chord progression is. If you know where A, D, and E are, you can kind of work with that. If I was going to do it up top here, I'd be doing A, D, and I guess we didn't do the E up here. You could do that where it goes 3, 5, 1. So you get 1 chord, 4, 5, then back to the 1 chord. I was just using this little triad here. I wasn't using this one or this one for the 5 chord. So basically what you want to do is just really kind of play these over and over and get them in your fingers and in your brain, and then start trying to incorporate them into your soloing. So what you can do is you can even pick, like, here's A, this is the 1. If I know right here's the D, I will let you know that if you target the 3rd of the triad, it generally sounds better than the 1st or the 5th. So when I'm going from this A to this D here, maybe I want to target that 3rd right there of the D chord. So by going to that, as the chord changed, I did play a wrong note in there, but I thought it sounded pretty cool. I feel like I might have put a flat 7 in there. I'm not sure. But what you can do is basically have a target note in mind and then noodle around a little. And then when it goes, so this is the flat 7. I think that's a note I put in before. This G here is a flat 7 over the A chord. So my advice is just keep playing them over and over, and when you go from one chord to the next, pick a target note. One thing that is good to do is really just go between 2 chords, just go between A, then D, A, D, A, D. So you're playing between 2, or maybe between just E and A, or A and E, 1, 5. You can do that. It's good to isolate between 2 chords so that you really get used to those. You don't want to do a chord progression with 5 or 6 chords in it right off the bat. It's going to be too confusing. So just isolate maybe two of the chords and then work your way up to like A, D, and E, kind of putting them all together in one chord progression. So that concludes this lesson on triads. I hope you find it really helpful. For me, I think, especially when I'm teaching students, I think it takes a while for you to be able to play and see the triads and incorporate it into the scale, into the maybe the pentatonic scale that you're playing. So it's going to require some work before you can solo over these using the triads, because you kind of have to almost be able to see them as you're playing. So don't get too frustrated if you're like, I can't flow from one triad into the next very well. It just doesn't sound right. It will over time. You just have to spend some time practicing these triads and trying to incorporate it into your lead. I hope you have found this helpful, and I will see you in the next lesson. If you like this guitar lesson, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the notification bell so you know when I come out with new lessons. Maybe hit like as well, that'd be great. And if, please leave a comment. If you have any questions about triads or anything guitar related, feel free to leave a comment. If you'd like to support this channel, you can do so for as low as $1 over on Patreon. All you have to do is go to patreon.com/GuitArmy. Over there, I already have like 300 or maybe 350 guitar lesson videos over there already from my online courses. I have all kinds of stuff. You can get guitar tabs over there, backing tracks, guitar profiles, all kinds of stuff. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, please head over to patreon.com/GuitArmy. Oh, hey, are you still here? Oh, this lesson's over. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and go practice some triads, and I'll see you in the next lesson.